What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? This is my first live. I just got approved for it, and I think the topic in my other daily today is living with unresolved problems, right? And as an addict, right, you know, we all deal through with unresolved problems. Things that we can't really foresee a change in, right? And like we have to come to the realization that that actually they can be resolved, with little steps daily to make better choices, right? You know, pursue a different way of life. And for me, with my this came with my sobriety, right? Like I didn't really think that I needed sobriety at first, but like I realized that it was what was missing in my life, like um, that connection with my higher power. Um, Also, like all the drugs that I was doing, like I had to let that go, right? My way of thinking too, you know, thinking that that was the answer to get to where I wanted to get to, you know. And after I gained a little bit of sobriety, like I started posting videos, right? And I guess things just started to clear up, like for me, anyways. Like as far as situations in life, like my finances, they started to get a little bit better, right? And granted, like even before I was in my sobriety, I actually started. I was actually doing, tell you the truth, better than I was before I quit using my all the substances I was using. But like I just knew that wasn't what I wanted in life, right? Like I wanted more. I wanted to actually help people instead of being a drug dealer. Like I was helping, but I was helping drug addicts, right? And so like I wanted to help actual people, like, and I wanted to change my life. And so I mature. So then I started going to AA and NA. And what's up, Josh? And then it just became natural for me to speak in the rooms, right? Like I've been in and out of the rooms of sobriety for over 25 years, but like I never really shared on anything, never really talked. I was, they come to me and I just pass, right? And then um, unresolved problems of it's basically like addictions, things that addicts deal with in their when they get their sobriety. And like I have been a drug and alcohol user for over 25 years, and I've been to prison a couple times, and I've been in a couple near near death or near death experiences. 67, but yeah, it might be. You know what I mean? But I'm working to better that every day, and I'm not gonna do it if I continue to do what I do, right? So I made changes. I let all that go, and you know, I still have a lot to work on, as we all do, right? But if you don't talk about it, you're not really working on it. You know what I'm saying? Like you can have the willingness to change, but like unless you put it into action, you're not really changing nothing, right? People get accustomed to the devil that they know, the life that they know, because they don't see anything else, right? So like, um, scary or change is scary for anyone. You know what I mean? No matter what they're doing in life, you could have a career your whole life, and it might not even be fulfilling, but that's what you do. That's what pays the bills, right? So that you get stuck in that. What's up, Ozell? That's all right. Josh, you have a good day. You know what I mean? There's plenty of other people you can go watch, and I wish you the best. I'll pray for you. But anyways, like I have, surrendered my old ideas and the drug dealing, the criminal life that I used to do. I let all that shit go, so that I could be better, right? And I could show people that there is a different way to live, even if that has been your whole life, right? Like, in people that go to school for a career or go to college to pursue something that they think they want, you know what I mean? And then they get stuck in that field, or they get stuck in that line of work for who knows how many years, right? And then they realize that they don't even resonate with that anymore, right? But they did it because maybe someone directed them to do that, or but just bad direction, right? Because thinking somebody else knows what's best for you is not really the best thing for you to do all the time. And you know, I just now I focus on myself. You know what I mean? Like, because I really had to let other people's um, projections on me go. Because like I know I was a very good drug dealer. I was a you know a very good criminal for a very long time. And you know, after I kind of I was over it. You know, you go sit down for a number of years in a cell, you know, you realize that that's not what you want, right? Well, at least I did. And I know that if I continued it, I would eventually end up back in there. And so, like, I started making small changes. You know, I was on the needle for 10 years, I believe, and you know, I haven't touched the needle since November of 20, Thanksgiving Day of 22. On that day, I also ended up in a coma for a little bit over a month, and like I didn't, you know, when you're in a coma, you don't really know you don't know that you're in a coma. Um, it was kind of another otherworldly experience, I could say, and then I woke up and then I had a heart condition, and then a couple weeks later I was released from prison. It was my release date was up, so I got to go home, right? And then I still, you know, went back to the streets, and still continued on the same path that I was on for, you know, that's what I knew was selling drugs and being that criminal. And then, you know, slowly I just started making changes, right? Like, uh, I quit. I quit hustling. Like, I flushed a lot of drugs down the toilet. And then, like, I was still drinking. And then I quit drinking just because, like, I was living with a roommate and I saw him belligerent. And, you know, I was like, yeah, I'm never going to look like that again, right? And so, like, that's when I decided I was going to quit drinking. And, like, you know, crazy thing about alcohol is it's so readily available everywhere, you know, and like the commercials for alcohol, it's always a good time. People are always partying, you know, on a beach, you know what I'm saying, just living it up, right? But you don't see the after effects of, you know, how much if you drink too much, what really could happen. You know what I'm saying? So like I've been in jail and I've seen young kids wake up in jail and you know they committed a vehicular homicide, right? They just lost their whole life. You know what I'm saying? Like 18, don't even didn't even realize what happened, or you know got into an altercation and took someone's life, right? And you know it's sad that those things happen to those people, right? For these kids, you know what I mean? Because they had bad direction in their life, like probably some friends that they had thought were hanging out, thought they was cool, whatever, or trying to even impress a girl. You know what I'm saying? And then they end up in jail, not even knowing what happened, right? And then now their whole life is gone. You know, so when you see this firsthand, like you start to not take life for granted. You know what I mean? Like I was, you know, after my coma, like I realized that, and I've had multiple ODs. You know what I mean? And I realized that, you know, I really have been given a chance to get out here and make a change. Like, what am I really doing if I'm out here fucking off my chance, right? Because I still have friends that have life in prison that I talk to. Like, they messaged me the other day, and I'm actually able to help them now. Like, I'm actually to be more of assistance to them out here in the streets and doing what I'm doing, staying out of that cell, right? You know, I'm able to really communicate for them to their loved ones or whatever, and be, you know, that light for them. Like, hey, yeah, I'm out here, I'm doing this shit. It ain't hard, but like I'm making it. You know what I'm saying? I've almost been out 3 years now. On January 15th, that'll be 3 years that I've been out. And like I'm still on probation. I got, you know, a 4 year tail, and I've actually violated multiple times already. And they could have already sent me back. For I think I have 2.5 more years. But like it wouldn't have even been that 2.5 years. They would have hit me for some more shit because at one point I was still selling drugs. I got into an altercation with some people, and like it would have been more time, right? It would have been that 2.5 plus some new charges, and that's just time wasted. Like people really don't realize how much time they're wasting on these substances and the money. Like it's just everyone wants to relax and have a good time, but like it's inevitably a distraction from what you were supposed to be doing, to fulfill your life purpose, or to create your own wealth and abundance, right? Now, for me, the problem was like I was a hustler, so I used drugs. The reason I had drugs was because I was using it to make money, and so like I kind of didn't really see anything wrong with it, to tell you the truth, because that was my hustle. That's how I made money, you know. But and that's also what kept me from getting sober for a very long time. Was that thank you, Primus, you know, and like I'm out. The location that I'm in, like it looks kind of nice where I'm at right now, but a couple blocks away from here, I'm pretty sure there's some dope fiends out there on the street pushing a shopping cart. You know what I'm saying? And people still ask me for drugs all the time, and that has been one of my hardest things to resist, because like my financial status isn't the best, right? I do have a job, but I could always use more money, right? Most of us can. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, having to resist the things that I know, selling these drugs to these people. You know what I mean? And even like I'm out there in the street by myself a lot of times, so most people would never even know, right, that I'm doing this, like, because I'm in a sober living house. I could obviously make that decision to help or to sell drugs to somebody, right? But if I do, I know where that's gonna take me, right? Like, eventually, I might end up using those drugs, or, um, and then I get addicted to that life, right? I think if I got away with it once, I can get away with it a couple times, and before you know it, it's a daily habit. You know what I mean? And like I don't allow that to be a part of my habits now. Like I changed literally everything about me. Like they say in the program, like there's only one thing you gotta change, and that's everything, right? And you know, at first that seems like a lot, but then like you realize, and at first you don't even want to do it, right? Because it's everything you know, and but like it becomes with a little bit of sobriety, it actually becomes easy. Like you cut off all your old friends, or associates, because that's what to me they were. They weren't friends, they were just associates, people I knew in this world, right? And like they didn't even have my best interest. They didn't give a fuck about me if I lived or died, or if I'm back in jail. you know even even significant others at one point in time, we get codependent on a female, or on that drug, right? That's what makes us feel good. And then once you, because we're all seeking that love, right? We're seeking that good feeling. But once you get your some sobriety, right, you realize that there's been a hole inside of you that you've been trying to fill with these substances, right? And now my higher power, God, he fills me with an unconditional love that like can no one take away from me, right? The only thing that can take it away from me is my use, my inebriation. If I choose to use these substances, I'm gonna block that connection. You know what I mean? So like I won't even play with the thought of jeopardizing my connection, or that love that I have with my higher power anymore. Like it's so strong with me now. Like there is no going back to using drugs or even selling drugs, right? Because like I've came so far that like I'm not even going back's not even an option. So I push forward every day. I really did change my habits. You know what I mean? I started, um, reading the daily every morning before I even get in the shower, the NA and the AA. Sorry, I got mosquitoes out here biting me, But I read them within the first 10 minutes of me waking up, right? And then I'll pray for the world. I don't even pray for me because like I've already overcome so much, and really I shouldn't even be alive to tell you the truth. But I continue to push forward, right? What's up, awesome? And so like for me, the unresolved problems is, the shit that I did in my addiction, right? And it's for like that for everybody that suffers from addiction. Like we get court cases, we may lose a house or a car or family. Like I've had my kids were taken away from me because I was in prison. I've been evicted from multiple residences because of my drug addiction, right? And or because of how I was living. And like I don't even think about going back to that way of life because like I know where it gets me. You know what I'm saying? Like it just eventually it'll end me back up in a cell. And when you're in the cell for some years, what I mean, and you realize that you don't want that, but you don't know a way out because that's what you've known for years, right? Like 25 years of addiction and hustling, plus probably that is really all I knew, and so it was very hard to walk away from that life and leave that life alone, and but now I wouldn't even give up my sobriety for nobody. I want to help everybody. What's up, mature? Thank you. Or hi, how you doing? Um, my Like so now I go to meetings every day, not because I don't have to. Like my probation or my house, they don't make me go to any of these meetings. Like I've already graduated my program, but like I go to these meetings to hear what people that have longer or have years of sobriety, what they do to keep their sobriety. Like this is what they do. They go to these meetings, they talk about their struggles with other people, right? They share their stories to help show another person coming fresh into sobriety that the change is possible, right? And like these people, they're not doing the best in life, but they're doing better than they were. They got houses, they got cars now. They're not living on the street. They're not living in a sober living house. You know what I'm saying? Um, and it gets better and easier with time. You know what I mean? You put that one foot in front of the other, and it just becomes second nature after a while, like riding that bike. You know what I mean? Um, I was disconnected from my higher power for a very long time, from my God. You know what I mean? Because I was clouding that connection with my substances, with my addiction. And, now I got it back, and it truly is a blessing, you know what I mean, to see the um, the miracle in my life that's happening, right? Um, and it's, you know, people have been aligned on my path that I believe are supposed to help me. People I probably would have never met had I been fucked up in a room and isolated, drunk or something, or still shooting up, or smoking these pills. Like I wouldn't care about none of that shit. I wouldn't be trying to collaborate with people on a higher frequency. Like I wouldn't even care nothing about that. I wouldn't even know nothing about that. You know what I mean? Like I'm still learning. I still got a lot to learn. You know what I'm saying? And I will continue to learn. Um, there's mosquitoes out here biting the out of me, but you know, I really do pray for the world. Like I really do pray for everybody, that they find a way to make better choices in their life. You know what I mean? To help the next man, right? Because really, that's the only way I can keep my sobriety is by giving this shit away or sharing my life and my experiences with anybody. Like, and I share in the rooms all the time. You know what I mean? Like, people in the rooms. Like, I have a home group, and they love to see me come in there, and like they love to hear me talk, right? Because like I give them a fresh perspective on my gratitude and shit, or the things that I'm actually grateful for in my life. You know what I mean? I'm grateful to have the opportunity to do this. Um, I'm grateful for the opportunity to actually change my life and show others that change is possible. You know what I mean? And it just, God gave me this blessing, this second chance. And actually, He gave me a whole bunch of chances, to tell you the truth. because there's been a whole bunch of times I was found in the middle of the street, you know what I'm saying, collapsed, too high off of dope, and you know, waking up from my coma. I still played with my life for a little bit. Like I still ended up using drugs, you know what I mean, and then I'm lucky that I did kind of get caught um, in my sober living house. Um, so like it was kind of a blessing that I didn't continue on with that drug or with that substance for as long as, you know, it could have went longer because, you know, I know how I am, and I had plenty of the drug, but you know, I got caught somewhat in using that substance, and then it just, like, I let it go. Like, I didn't go to no detox facility or nothing like that. I actually kicked it right there in the sober living house, and then I moved out. I found another place to rent a room at, and I just continued on my hustling for a while until like I really just decided to make that change, and you know, by the grace of God, which was, you know, some people call them God shots or whatever, but I was I lost my job, and then I didn't really have anywhere to go or where to stay at the time, and so I ended up coming into a sober living house, and at first I was required to go to meetings for a little bit, and then like I moved out of that sober living house. I moved into another one because I didn't really agree with everything that was going on in the first one. And then after I moved out, like I went to the place that I'm at now. You know, I graduated their program. You know, I had a job, and now I quit my job there, and I got another job. And the potential for the amount of money I could make there is more than I could have ever made doing what I was doing before. I mean, I probably could have made it even selling drugs, but like then I'm risking my freedom. I'm risking that connection that I built with my kids again. You know, um, what really what really killed me was like when I first got out of prison, and my daughter asked me, she's like, "Dad, are you gonna make it to my birthday this year, right?" And her birthday was only a couple months away, I think. And I told her, "I promise you, I'm gonna make it to your birthday, right?" And then she's like, "Yeah, but you always make promises, and then you break them, or you're right back in prison, or you're right back in jail, right?" And that shit fucked me up, for real. And you know, I was still using substances at the time. You know what I mean? Like I was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna smoke weed. It's cool. I'm not doing what I used to do, right?" But you know, and I probably would have been okay if I just continued to smoke weed. But like, that's just money wasted and time wasted, right? Like, I was literally just blowing all my money, putting that shit up in the air. It's cool though, high for, you know, an hour or two, or whatever. And I was blowing some of the best weed. There's dispos out here everywhere. You know what I mean? Everything I was smoking was Moon Rock pre rolls, uh, just, you know what I mean, the highest THC content I could get. And then I was like, yeah. I started making changes. Like I quit smoking weed even before I came into sober living. I quit, you know, quit using all the substances, my drinking and everything. You know, now it's just, you know, one foot in front of the other every day to be better, right? Like, uh, like I said, I read my dailies first thing in the morning, and then I pray, and then like I usually do like a little light workout to get back in shape. Cause like when I woke up from the coma, I was 93 pounds, and you know, just little habits to be better every day, right? And I started on my physical, getting my physical up before I was even sober. You know what I mean? Like just to get that shit better. And I'm still a pretty small dude, but you know, I'm working towards uh, getting myself right, or at least to where I want to in life. You know what I mean? Because ain't no one gonna do this shit for me. Like, who gonna come work out for me? Like, who's gonna make my body get bigger if I don't do it for myself, right? And then, you know, other shit that I'll do. You know, I go to these meetings because I want to be in there. I want to hear what other people are doing. I want to hear their stories. I want them to hear my story so that I can show them that, that change really is possible. Like look at where I was at, and now look at where I'm at. I have a goal to eventually walk up inside of a prison and share my story with other inmates, right? Because like I definitely know what that's like being up in there, being a number, you know, and there's no way to live. So every day I strive to be better. I strive to, show the world a better way. You know what I mean? And eventually it'll get there, but that's just with the little steps I take daily. You know what I mean? I have my channel. It has over 300 videos about recovery. You know what I mean? So y'all check me out. K. Dot hyphy 214. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, y'all stay blessed. I'm gonna get up out of here because mosquitoes is eating me up. But yeah, share this. You know what I mean? I'm really out here in Mesa, Arizona. You know what I mean? Being a positive influence to people and showing people a different way to live. Y'all stay blessed. I'm gonna pray for y'all.